Hi, happy Saturday and welcome to Mike's Laboratory. Very quick video today. I had a request that's from someone that I show how to do the shoulder cups on talkers. So I don't think I showed it in the talker series, so it's fitting, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, and happy Labor Day too. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to swing the camera down and get right to it. So be short and sweet. Hope it helps. All right. Okay. What you'll need, or how I do it, is a pair of thin bladed wire cutters. Obviously, you need your shoulder piece. Shoulder cups. These are from Cotswolds. They're pretty good. They're pretty tough. I don't know what plastic they're made out of. Nylon, maybe. But in any event, they come in these two pieces. And these work pretty well. I've been using them for a while. All right, first step. Need to get that old rivet out of there. Now you can either reuse the rivet or replace it, whichever turns your crank. I normally reuse them, although I have replaced them in the past. I find the Cot shoulder rivets are a little too short, so I tend to reuse the original rivet if it's in good enough shape. Okay. What you want to do is you want to get your wire cutters underneath the mushroomed end of this rivet as best you can. Some of these rivets are all the way through and mushroomed out real good. Some of them appear to be barely through. What you want to do is kind of get rid of that extra flange from the mushrooming of the rivet around the plastic so you can tap it out of the hole more easily. And yeah, you probably will chew the plastic up on the shoulder a little bit. I have found that the Adventure Team rivets on later Joes tend to be easier because there's more of this sticking out and mushroomed over. The earlier ones, not so much. As you can see, this is an earlier one and it's giving me a little crap. Okay, but that should be good enough. Next thing to do. And this is the scary part. Take my vise and I open it up enough so that I got a platform where I can tap on this rivet. All right, let's make sure we got the camera angled right here. All right, I use one of these. This is just a cheap pick from a cheapo pick set that I got at Walmart probably, or maybe Harbor Freight. Stick it in the mushroom of the rivet. And then you take one of these, a small hammer, and you don't want to beat on it too hard. You don't want to risk cracking the plastic, but gently tap on the rivet. Raise that up a little bit. And it'll slowly start to move through. I have found also that if you spray a little bit of silicone lube on there, sometimes that helps. But the key is to go slow and don't tap too hard. Do not want to overdo it and crack the plastic. I have cracked the plastic on occasion, once or twice. Usually this doesn't cause any problems. Gentle taps. As you can see, the rivet's coming out. And once you get to about this point, you can usually, you can usually grab it with a small pair of pliers or channel locks and twist and pull it out the rest of the way. When you're doing this, don't rock it from side to side because you can break the plastic that way too. That one's pretty stubborn. Guess we need to whack it a few more times. Hold on a sec. Okay, rivets out. Let's readjust our camera here. Okay, you can see this one's a little, this is the way they come from the factory sometimes. Bent up a little bit, I'm not sure why. But in any event, I keep the rivets from anything I take apart. So I usually have some extras lying around. Here's another one. Okay, the next thing to do, pull this out, it slides right out. Take your rivet. I'm going to use one that's a little less bent. If I can find one like that in my stash here. This one's a little better. And then what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll stick it in the vise like this. Flatten her out, get it as straight as I can get it to be. You can also use a new one, obviously. Don't happen to have any right at the moment. Another way of doing this is you can put it in the vise like that and use a pair of pliers to bend it a little straighter. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it does have to be able to slide smoothly through the new shoulder cup. On the end, a lot of times, let me find one that's like that, you'll get a bit of the mushrooming left over on the end. You can use a pair of pliers or flatten that out as you need to as well. Obviously a new rivet's best, but hey, it's the way it is sometimes. Okay, now with these COTS pieces I find, come on dang it, get in there. With these COTS pieces I find that this hole's a little small. A lot of times the rivet don't want to slide through there real easily. This one does, so we're just going to go with that. So you just simply put it together like this. The cupped end, wait, I should back up a minute. If the rivet doesn't want to fit through the hole easily like this one does, then I take an X-Acto knife. Where's my X-Acto knife? There it is. And just cut a little bit extra off of there, just oval out the hole a little bit around the top. A little teeny bit is all it takes. All right, put it together like this, the cupped end facing out. Put it inside the shoulder, making sure that this doesn't matter from a functional standpoint, but the way they put them together from the factory is with the head of the rivet, where you can see it more easily on the front of the joint. As you can see, the forearm would go on there and the rivet would be sticking out, or the rivet head would be on the front side. Take it like this, squeeze it together real good, and go to stick your rivet in there. Rivet should, whoops, not always, but the rivet should slide in there fairly easily. You might have to do a little wiggling. There we go, slid right through. If it doesn't slide right through easily, you can use your hammer and tap it a little bit. All right, on the back side, you see it's a little bit ugly. A couple of things you can do here. I usually just take a razor blade and shave off whatever pieces of plastic might be hanging. Sand it a little bit so it looks good. And then a couple options to make sure it stays in there. I have found that usually they're tight enough that you really probably don't have to do any sort of fastening, but make sure that the rivet head's seated good. Gentle tapping again. I take the ball end of the hammer on where the mushroomed end of the rivet was, and just a couple of light smacks like that. That mushrooms the rivet head out a little bit again. You can also use super glue in there if you want. That would hold it in place too, I'm sure. And as you can see, it's now nice and tight again. Anyways, okay, guess that's about it. All right, guys, that's all I got for you real quick here. I need to get back to repairing these talkers. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Blaine Miller, I believe, is the guy who asked me about that. So, hey, Blaine, there you go. That's how it's done. Only other variations I can think of is if you have a fresh rivet. And I'll show that too real quick, actually. Rivets, rivets, rivets. Show the rivets. Okay. What I use if I'm going to use a new one. Now, these are... There we go. This is a cat shoulder rivet. And they're a little short. They do work, however. But for a vintage Joe, they're a little short. These are what I use if I got to use new rivets. And these are the Cotswold, actually they're thigh rivets. And they're quite a bit longer. And what I'll do with, they're aluminum too. So what I'll do with these, when I use these, is I'll put them through the hole. I'll cut them off flush with the back of the shoulder piece. And then just mushroom the end out with the hammer gently. They're made out of aluminum, so they do that real easily. And they do look better. So I guess it's a matter of, hey, what kind of parts do you have? And how important is looking pretty to you, or just functionality more important? Whichever works for you. That's the basic process. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks very much for liking and subscribing. I appreciate it very much. I'll try to get another video up before this nice 3-day weekend is over, but you never know, because there's some fishing to be done. And you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe and have fun. I'll catch you on another episode of Mike's Laboratory.